Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the full release of the Pokemon Go TCG set. We're going to look at all the cards, compatibility in the game in terms of play, how good they look, which the collectible ones are going to be, and which ones you guys should look out for. So let's get into it with the first Pokemon, Bulbasaur. Fairly standard. There's not really much to say on this one. It's going to evolve up into Ivysaur. And then finally into Venusaur. I do like the art on Ivysaur a lot. I love the Pokestop in the background with a lure. Brought in a load of Pokemon. Yeah, really like this. I love the arts where they're really focusing on it being Pokemon Go. This is going to be the first set ever for me that I'm going to try a master set of. I'm a huge Pokemon Go player, so it just made sense to do this one. It's not the biggest of sets either with 78 cards. So it should be attainable. The only issue is, obviously, there is no booster box for this set. You can only get it in ETBs. You can only get it in Radiant collections or other smaller collections. There's no way just to buy like 36 packs, which might make it a challenge, but that's what we're here for. We're here for the challenge. Not really worth using the attack on this. Summon an Aroma. You can search your deck for 2 Pokemon. I don't think we're ever going to be using that. But there are also a few Venusaur. So we've got one for these to evolve into. We've also got the Radiant one, which is a basic Pokemon, but we'll come back to that. So this one says Loopy Lasso. So once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active, and a new active Pokemon is now asleep and poisoned. It sounds bad because it's a head flip. Obviously, it's a stage 2 as well, so I do see why people wouldn't like this one. But that's a very powerful ability. Just thinking of something like Umbreon VMax. This is only a 1-prizer, so it's a lot less risky to have on the bench. I quite like this. It's pretty good. I can't see it being in any decks. But in fun decks or maybe like a gym challenge, I can see this happening. The retreat for 4 is what puts me off mainly. There's not many ways to get that out. It's going to have to be a switch or a switch cart, something like that. But yeah, it's a really cool Pokemon. You've got to love Venusaur. But we've got to love Radiant Venusaur slightly more. So this one's got Sunny Bloom. Once at the end of your turn, after your attack, which I can't think of something we've seen before with that ability. You may use this ability, draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hand. So that's really powerful. That's really cool. There's probably going to be, top of my head, I can't think of anything, but there's probably going to be some really good uses for that. Again, it's slightly less retreat. It's a basic Pokemon. It is your Radiant, and I do think there are much better Radiants out there. The Charizard in this set is very good. Blastoise in this set is okay. And then we've got, obviously, Greninja or Lucha and the other good ones. So it's hard to say this one is going to be used. But it's cool. It's kind of a cool card. I'm not a massive fan of the image, to be honest. Obviously, it's shiny, but it looks like it's just been put on like a stock background. Yeah, not really much effort gone into that one, so I'm not the biggest fan, but let's move on to our first V Pokemon, and that is Alolan Executor. So he's got Growing Tail. For a Grass Energy, flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for up to 5 Grass Energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle your deck. I guess it had to be a coin toss, else that is far too powerful just for a 1 attach. I don't know. I can see you using this if you've got nothing set up, and normally in the early game you're probably not gonna, so I can see this being used. Maybe with Glimwood Tangle this is actually very powerful. I think that, yeah, with Glimwood Tangle I think this could be okay, honestly. Is that the one that lets you reflip coins? If it you know what I mean anyway. This could actually be very good. 5 energy is a lot of energy, and then there's stuff like Delmise which hits for the amount of energy in play, so I could see this being used. We've also then got Head Swing. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each Grass Energy attached to this Pokemon. So you could accelerate them all to this and then Head Swing later on, which again is very similar to Delmise's attack, if not the same. So that's quite powerful. Very interesting Pokemon. Huge fan of Executor. Not so much the Alolan. So let's move on to our little fire buddy Charmander. So Tail on Fire. It does 10. Search your deck for a Fire Energy and attach it to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Perfect if you go in second, if you've got not much set up and he's in the active. There's not much else to say about it. Very cool looking art. Love Charmander. Love Charmeleon. That's even better art. It's slowly getting better. Not much to say about this other than the art, honestly. It's just going to be... You probably skip this with a rare candy, honestly. So looking at Charizard, the man himself. I really do love these where they've put the Pokemon in Pokemon Go. So it's a 3D rendering. Because it's a Pokemon Go set, give me more stuff like this. The only better version is the art. So like the Ivysaur card we saw. But I think this is pretty good if not. So it's got Burn Brightly. Each basic fire energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 fire energy. You can't apply more than 1, obviously. And then you've got Flare Blitz, discard all fire. 170 damage, but you could do that for 2 attachments, which is very good. We've seen stuff like Weezing use that for Dark Pokemon, and it did see some play with Darkrai. So I could see this being used, especially it being a Charizard, one of the favourite Pokemon of people. So I can see it happening. But we also obviously have a Radiant Charizard as well. Again, obviously a basic Pokemon ability, Excited Heart. This Pokemon's attack costs 1 colourless less for each prize card your opponent has taken. So he's got Combustion Blast for 250, which is currently 4 colourless and a fire. Obviously, we're only going to play this later on in the game when they've taken some prizes. So yeah, you could basically attack, and you're only ever going to use this to attack with a fire, drop it down, attach. Absolutely devastating. 250 damage, Choice Belt to 280. It's taking a knockout on any important Pokemon at the minute. And obviously, it's going to hit weakness on stuff like Dialga, which has been very popular. not that it really needs a weakness, honestly. 500 seems a little overkill, but yeah. Pop off. Then we've got Moltres, so the first of the legendary birds. Very cool looking art. I quite like that. It's different, but I like it a lot. Really like that one. And he's got Flare Symbol. So your basic fire Pokemon, I should say. Let me start again. Your basic fire Pokemon's attacks, except any Moltres, do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that could be kind of cool just to hit some of those numbers you need. Top of my head, I can't think what you're going to need that for, but there will be some matchups where you just need that extra. And you've got a basic Pokemon to do it. So that's probably going to see some play in Fire decks, if any Fire decks see play. So yeah, I think that's quite good, but really depends on the metagame and what's being played. With Palkia being so dominant, I don't know. I don't know if I could suggest playing Fire. Next up, we've got Squirtle. Adorable art. It reminds me of one of the older arts, like I'm trying to think what set it was. It was around the time we had Deluge Blastoise. I remember this evolved into it. It looks very similar, and even the Wartortle reminds me of it a bit. Definitely prefer this art. Massive fan of Squirtle as well, obviously. It's where it all started. Although I don't mind Squirtle. I always went Charmander, honestly. Sometimes Bulbasaur. But yeah, obviously he's going to evolve up into Wartortle, who does Hydro Pump, 50 plus 10 more for each water energy. 10 more is not much. He needs 3 to attack. Yeah, never mind. We have got Blastoise, so for Vitality Spring. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 6 energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle your deck and your turn ends. Now, it's important to note, it's not just water energy. It's not even just basic energy. This is any energy. It can be Twin, it can be Aurora, it could be Rapid Strike. I know I wouldn't put that on this, but you see what I mean? It can literally be anything. So stuff like Blissey, stuff like things that need a lot of energy to attack, this is going to be absolutely crucial for. It is a stage 2. So it can be difficult to get into play. So I don't think it's going to be any top tier decks. Although saying that, putting this in like a Blissey deck, once this sets up, I think you win the game at that point. And it's not that difficult to set up. You can throw some Squirtles down if you've got enough on your bench that they're not all knocked out. A few things move into place, and this could be absolutely devastating. Really like this card. Really hope we do see something from it. Love the art as well. It's a very unique style, that one. I very like the strong lines. Yeah, big fan. Big fan. Next up, obviously, we've got Radiant Blastoise, though. So, Pump Shot. You must discard a water energy from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This is one of the best Radiant Pokemon just for the ability itself. It's basically Quick Shoot and Inteleon, but it's a basic, so you can drop it and do it straight away. There's so many water shenanigans that already drop damage. So I don't know, this is so powerful. It has to be used in water decks, obviously, or decks that run water energy, else this just isn't going to work. But yeah, it just makes water decks even better, which I don't think they really needed, as they've already got everything going for them with Palkia, with Ice Rider Calyrex, Suicune if you need one, I guess. But yeah, there's just so much going for them. Inteleons. I don't need to reel off all the water Pokemon. There's plenty in the game right now. And let's move on to another one. We've got Magikarp. Now, I'm very excited for this. I love the art to start with. It's obviously Pokemon Go again, the 3D render in the real world. Massive fan of this. I'm really glad they got Niantic to do some designs for this one. But even so, it's actually quite powerful as well. I can't see it winning any tournaments, but I can see it taking some wins at tournaments, which for attacking with the Magikarp, because you would be using this to attack, is absolutely insane. So its first attack just lets you gather up some Magikarp onto your bench. The second attack is what we're going to look at here. It's Raging Fin. So it does 10 plus 30 more damage for each Magikarp and Gyarados in your discard. So obviously we need 1 to attack. So you could have potentially 7, which is 220 damage. Slap a choice belt on, that's 250. That's a big number, especially for a 1-prizer. Obviously you need a lot set up. You need a lot in your discard. But there is also, I think it's a Ditto in this set that can use attacks. So we could just use Raging Fin ourselves, which is super interesting. So you could have actually 8, which does get you up to that magic 280 to knock out stuff like Arceus and other V-Stars. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a rogue deck of this make a top place in. How likely it is, I don't know, but I think it's really cool. This is going to be a really interesting deck, and I do hope somebody... Obviously, it's only got 30 HP, which is the big problem, which is why you probably want to use stuff like Ditto to do the attacks instead. Maybe use... I'm trying to think of some other stuff that can buff its health. You kind of need Choice Belt to hit those numbers. Or you could just relax and take 2-hit knockouts, in which point you can put a Big Charm or something on it, which I think might be slightly safer. Else this can just get poked out by stuff like Blastoise, which we've just seen. Inteleon will be rotating, but Zigzagoon can make this quite scary to play as well. But one of my favourite cards from the set, honestly. And then we've got this Evolved Gyarados, which is probably my favourite art of the set. Again, it's the Pokemon Go aesthetic, it's the design, but it's art. So I do like this one better. I think it looks amazing. The card itself isn't very powerful. I can't think of a way you would want to use that. That's a lot of energy. It does hit 230. So if you play it in the... Well, you will be playing it in the Magikarp deck anyway. There is a chance that you could set this up, but then you have to discard the top 5 cards of your deck. Yeah, so it's a very tricky one. Not sure it will see much play other than in the Magikarp we just saw. But on to the next legendary bird, we've got Articuno. Your basic water Pokemon's attacks, except Articuno, do 10 more damage. So that will help us power up the Magikarp and hit higher numbers. So we could 2-hit stuff or maybe even 1-hit things. Obviously, it's going to be in stuff like Suicune if we see any more of that. It could be in Palkia, Calyrex decks, but only if you're attacking with a basic. And even then, I don't think that's going to happen much of the time. So I don't know if this will see much play, honestly. Maybe in some rogue water decks like I just said, Magikarp and stuff. So that could be quite interesting. Next up, we've got Wimpod. So he's got Punk Out. If your opponent has any Pokemon V in play, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. Now, that's important because most decks are going to have Pokemon V in some capacity. This guy is a free retreater for water decks, so you can always just throw this up and then retreat it. So it gives you more options in water decks. So I think we're going to see him appear in a load of water decks, which is never good. Obviously, we've already seen 2, 3, 4 good cards for water in this set alone. I would say it's already the most powerful of the types. So I don't know why we've seen so much support for water. Someone out there must just love water Pokemon. And this guy's no different. This is really good. It does evolve into Gliscopod. First impression, it does 20. If this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active, it does 90 more. So very similar to something like Hooper, but again, even better. So yeah, there's a lot to love about this. I could see maybe 2 of these guys being played in a deck, then splashing one of these just to evolve into if you need it. Really powerful package for water Pokemon. So hopefully our next type in has some good Pokemon in it so we can take out those pesky water Pokemon with some electric attacks. It's Pikachu, it's Pokemon Go. My girlfriend's going to absolutely love this card. Same with the next one. Two Pikachus coming up. She does collect them, so we're going to need to grab these. But like I said, we are going to try and do a master set. So if you do want to see that, make sure you're subscribed, because we will be doing openings and updates on our set and how we're getting on. But this Pikachu, as well as looking cool, as well as having the cool Niantic art, it does Buddy Bolt. So 30 plus. If you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn, it does 30 more, so it can do 60. For that price, for an electric and a double colorless, that's never going to be used. On to the next Pikachu. Very cute design. Again, it's that Pokemon Go aesthetic, but in art, which is probably better than the other one. It's nice to have a mix, I think. But yeah, again, Wild Charge for 90, does 30 to itself. Can't see that being used. Then we've got Zapdos, which does what the others do for electric Pokemon, so that extra 10 damage, which I think, if I had to predict now, is going to see the most play of the legendary birds, simply because there's so much water Pokemon and it's dominating. We've seen Palkia top 8 of 8 recently, and I do think it's not going to be that dominant, obviously. There's going to be a ton of Mew, there's going to be a ton of Arceus builds, but I do think Palkia will be prevalent, and obviously with stuff like Inteleons, it's always good to hit for electric. So if you're playing decks with electric Pokemon in, this is definitely going to be in there to hit those numbers. Then we've got one of the coolest Pokemon ever, one of the coolest Pokemon in this set, Mewtwo V. There's not much to say about its attacks. It's got 220 health, which is good. It does have Transfer Break, which does 160, and you can move an energy from this to your bench. It's not great, but obviously the VStar is where we're going to be focusing all of our attention. When it evolves up, you can use Psy Surge. Discard up to 3 energy cards from your Pokemon. This attack does 90 damage for each card you discarded in this way. So you could do 270 for total, plus a Choice Belt is 300, plus something like a Hawlucha. Lets you one-shot anything in the game. So you can do it, and you don't even need to discard all the energy. So you could just do 1 or 2, depending how much health they have left. So it's very versatile, which is always good in an attacker. But as well as that, it's got its V-Star power, Star Raid. This attack does 120 to each of your opponent's Pokemon V. It's not affected by weakness or resistance, as usual with this type of attack, but that is amazing. So you can set up all these knockouts. 120 damage is nothing to scoff at. You can pair this with something like Jolteon or Urshifu or other stuff that hit the bench hard, and you can take a ton of KOs and knockouts in one turn. A ton of prizes. I do think this is going to see some play. I don't think it's going to set the game on fire, but obviously with a resistance to fighting, that's kind of good with stuff like Urshifu we mentioned, Machamp. I don't think we're going to see much of them in play, so it might not be that prevalent. And weakness, Samurot's not good enough. We've got Gengar, we've got Darkrai, which are both good decks, both good Pokemon, so that's something to worry about as well, but it's Mewtwo, it'll probably see some play. People love Mewtwo. Up next, we've got Meltan. Again, really cool design for Pokemon Go. It's just appearing in its natural habitat around all the other metals. Not much to say about the attack. Very cool art. Obviously evolves into Melmetal though. So Swing and Smash does 30, flip 2 coins, 90 more for each heads. 90 more is a lot of damage. So that could be like 210. Really love the art on this one. Again, quite like Melmetal. But obviously we've got the Melmetal V, which is probably gonna see more play than that one. So you got Arm Charge for 50. You may attach a Steel Energy from your hand to this Pokemon, which lets them get set up a little easier to evolve into Melmetal VMax. Now this says Gmax Juggernaut, 160 damage plus. This attack does 60 more damage for each extra Steel Energy or Metal, whatever you want to call it, attached to this Pokemon. You can't add more than 120 damage in this way. So you could potentially do 280, which is the magic number. Obviously, it takes out all the V-Stars like we've already mentioned. So this is quite impressive. Obviously, you need a ton of energy on it, which isn't going to be easy to do. You're fairly safe that no fire Pokemon are going to be played just because of the amount of water. The resistance to grass is good with Gardenia's Vigor, so might see some grass decks, stuff like Leafeon VMax, maybe Delmise. So yeah, it might come in use. It means you can 2-hit KO stuff, which is okay. I don't know. It's not blowing me away. 330 health is good, but yeah, it's okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Then we've got Chansey. So There is 2 arts for this again with slightly different attacks, so we will go through them. This one's quite cool. It's got Delicious Egg, heal 30 from your bench. I can't imagine anyone's going to be using this one. This is just going to be a collector's one. The next one looks very cool as well. It's also slightly better. So Enriching Egg, heal all damage from one of your bench Pokemon. That could actually be used. Although saying that, what am I talking about? That's Chansey and Blissey. What am I talking about? They are not... Oh, can you tell it's the morning? Can you tell I've got up to do this video because the set's been announced? Anyway. Yeah, this isn't going to see play. Stage 1 just to heal Pokemon. It's not going to happen. The art is absolutely gorgeous. One of my favorite from this set. So I definitely want this. This is one I'm going to be searching for. It should be fairly easy to get. It's just a rare. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous art. I would say maybe my favorite art in the whole set, honestly. There's some that come close and we'll get onto them in a minute, but big fan of this one. Next up, we've got Ditto, the one I mentioned before. This Pokemon can use the attacks of any basic Pokemon in your discard, except for Pokemon with rule boxes, so Vs, Radiant, stuff like that. This is really cool because, like I said before, with stuff like Magikarp, you can use it for that. You can use it in Mad Party decks. You can use it in... There's a ton of decks with basic attackers that aren't V Pokemon where this is just going to be amazing. There was some really dirty combinations I saw people use, but I'll leave them for you to hopefully not discover yourself. But yeah, really cool Pokemon. Big fan of Ditto. I think this is a really cool card. It adds a lot of versatility. Obviously, you can play 4 of these as well. I did think it was a Radiant for some reason. So you could play 4 of these and just have all your Magikarp and Gyarados in the discard and attack with this guy. So that's really cool. Yeah, massive fan of this. One of my favorite cards in the set, honestly. It's going to make basic attackers more viable. I'm trying to think what other ones it could be used for. Let me know if you think of any in the comments below. But next up, we've got Eevee. There's always got to be an Eevee. Again, a Niantic design, one that I really like. It's very cute. The Eevee sort of cuddling into their owner, partner. Choose a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals that card and shuffles it into their deck. Yeah, that's not going to be used. It's just a cute card. It's another collectible. And the same with this one, Snorlax. Let's see what he does. So obviously he's blocking a doorway. Pesky Snorlax. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat. That's kind of huge. If you switch this in and then boss up something with a lot of retreat, they're going to need to find a switch because they just can't get out any other way, or an escape rope, something like that. That could see some play. I think this could be in store decks. It could be in decks that mill or control decks. This could be really interesting. This is one I'm going to try and use in some decks, and it's one you probably should be aware of. Maybe we'll see an increase in switches and escape ropes in decks if it gets any sort of notoriety, any sort of play, because that is devastating. Really cool card, obviously, as well. Snorlax, fan favorite. Next up, though, we've got Apom. Really cool little in-joke. If you've played Pokemon Go, obviously Apom jumps around a lot. He bats stuff away. He is a pesky one to catch. So there's just a ton of Pokeballs lying on the floor around him. Really cool design on this one. Yeah, again, the art style instead of the 3D render. Big fan of this. Massive fan. Not necessarily of the Pokemon, but yeah, just a really cool design for a card. He's got Bustle, so flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage and effects done to this Pokemon. It's actually not terrible. Now, it is down to a coin flip, so I can't see it being like the staple of a deck, but it could be interesting just to hold a position for a while, just to stall out if you need something. Obviously, it evolves into Ambipom, which has Primate Dexterity. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attacks, flip a coin. If heads, prevent that damage. Now, we have seen this before in stuff like Dragapult. A few things to note why this might actually be played. It's a stage 1, so it is a lot easier to get into play than Dragapult. There's a lot less deck space taken, but also this attack has a lot more potential. So you flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon, and it does 60 for each heads. Glimwood Tangle in play. I could see this being a thing. I have seen a Zoroark box where they focus on flip attacks with stuff like Cleavor, where if you flip 2 heads, you knock out the Pokemon. This could fit into that deck. I do think playing any deck around coin flips it's asking for trouble, but This could be a really fun deck, and it could be one that I see play. I might play it at least once, if not anyway. So I do think it's quite cool. It's kind of fun. But then on to the next one, we've got a Bidoof. Really cool art. I really like the strange art design on this. I love anything sort of unique. So this might replace the Bidoof in my deck currently. Obviously, Bibarel is a huge one, so we could see these in play, I guess. Not really used, just used to evolve, but I think we probably will see this art instead of the other one, just because it's slightly more unique. It's newer, it's more interesting. So that is Bidoof. And then next up, we've got Bibarel. So this one says Reassuring Dam. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, cards in your deck can't be discarded by effects of your opponent's attacks, abilities, item cards, or supporters. So this is basically just stopping mill entirely. No, it does say of your opponents. So stuff like Gyarados, where it discards from the top of your deck, isn't going to be affected by this. So you couldn't use that to get around it, for example. I can't imagine we'll see that. If there was a ton of mill decks, you might see it splashed in. Obviously, Bibarel being very popular at the moment. Let's talk about the art, though. That is a really, again, it's those bold black lines. Big fan of how this is drawn. I love that the Smeargle's in the front. It's sort of, so when you take a picture in Pokemon Go, he normally appears. So that's kind of cool. Again, it's a little nod to Pokemon Go players. Really like this card, love the art. But I think that might be it for Pokemon, as it looks like we're moving on to trainers now. So we've got Blanche up first. Draw 2 cards. If you drew any cards in this way, flip a coin. If heads, attach a water energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. Now it's a flip, so I can't see this being much use. And then Candela's obviously going to be the same for fire. And I think the other one is Spark, probably the same for electric. I can't imagine them seeing much play. Let's look at Lure Module then. Each player reveals the top 3 cards of their deck and puts all Pokemon they find there into their hand. Then each player shuffles the other cards back into their deck. If you're playing a heavy Pokemon deck, something like Zoroark Box, where you need stuff in your hand, the Pokemon in your hand, because it doesn't say basic Pokemon, or Reggie's, where you need certain cards in your hand, I could see this seeing some play, honestly. I love it's a lure module, so again, ties into Pokemon Go well. This could actually see some play. The fact it only does the top 3 cards probably mean it won't, because there's much better versions. There's Great Ball and other things. This does let you get more Pokemon though, but you would have to set it up somehow with a Rangaroo and other stuff. I just can't see this happening or being worthwhile, honestly. So let's move on to a Pokestop. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard 3 cards from the top of their deck. If a player discarded any item cards in this way, they put those item cards into their hand. Quite a cool stadium. It's a way to get stuff in your hand. So currently, a lot of people have been playing the Mew from Celebrations to get items in their hand. Obviously, this could do that, and it could do it slightly better, but it could result in some of your cards you're not wanting to be in the discard being in there. You could always use stuff like Pal Pads in your deck, or Claras, or Ordinary Rods to sort of negate the bad stuff from this. And then it just becomes a super consistent card just to draw stuff that you need. That might see some play in speed decks like Darkrai or Dialga, speed decks like that. Maybe Mew. It does need stadiums, and this helps it get good stuff. So I think this one might actually see some play. That's going to be my prediction on it anyway. I'm definitely going to try it out. Very interesting stadium. Like we said, we've got Spark for the Lightning Pokemon. And that is the set. I'm sure there was some more trainers. Okay, so some haven't been changed from, or we haven't seen the cards, I should say, for the English, but they are translated here. This is all on PokeBeach. I will drop their link in the description, so go check it out if you want to read through it yourself. It's a good website for Pokemon in general. This is Spinarak then, so it's got Poison Sting. Not really much to say on that. Ariados, which could be good. And it is not, so you flip a coin if heads. Yeah, so not a lot going on there. Numel, again, very basic. Very cool art though. I do really like that, very cute. And I do really like camera up. So this guy's got Split Bomb. This attack does 52 of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not terrible. It's good for spreading damage, but 80. Yeah, I can't see this much play in this. Again, it's a fire Pokemon in a water-dominated world, so We've got Slowpoke, which is interesting, but Slowbro is one of my favorite cards in this set. So, for Twilight Flash, which is a double color, so you can twin energy it, you can splash this into Zoroark boxes, which is going to be very interesting. This attack can only be used if your opponent has one prize remaining. Against Zoroark, this is going to happen if your opponent's ahead. You've only got one prize Pokemon out, so this is always going to happen. You take 2 prizes. So basically, them getting anywhere near winning, you could potentially win the game with this, or if you can boss someone up and trap it, you could just keep taking 2 prizes, and just win the game when they were 1 away. This is going to be absolutely devastating. It might see... I don't know. I feel like this could maybe see... I don't know. It just seems very powerful. I can't see it getting like banned or changed or anything like that, but that's so strong. That is so powerful. Imagine trapping someone and just taking prizes like that. I think it could be really interesting, and it's got to be in Zoroark. I'm so excited to try this. I love Slowbro as well, so that is always a plus. Then we've got a Pokemon Go Lapras. Again, it looks like a 3D rendering of it. Not much to say about the attacks, but it's a cool Pokemon. It's cool art. What's Zatu saying? So Pinpoint Wave. This attack does 90 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon V. Don't apply. Not great. I think Lunatone was quite interesting. So discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. Okay, maybe it's not. I think it was the other one. What's the other one? The rock thing. We'll get to it anyway. Sylveon. Anything good going on here? You can search cards. Miracle Flash for 3 colorless does 90 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a N Pokemon, this attack does 90 more damage. Dragon? Is that supposed to be? Interesting. Okay. So there is a way to hit Dragon for weakness, technically. That would do 180, Choice Belt, 210. You might get some V Pokemon. But other than that, there's no, yeah. I can't see much play. Onyx. Wrathful Swing. There's a lot of energy. It does 50 times the amount for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Could be interesting. It's just going to be too difficult to set up, I think. And then we've got Larvitar. Probably one of the cutest designs in this set. Obviously holding the Golden Raz. Huge fan of that. Huge fan of Larvitar in general. Really cool Pokemon. Oh, this moves. Yeah, really cool Pokemon. This might be my favorite art, honestly. We've got Pupitar next. Again, just going to evolve up into that. And then finally, you're going to get into... Okay, Tyranitar is a dark Pokemon, so he's a little further down. We'll come back to that one. Solrock, ability, Solar Energy. Once during your turn, you may attach a Psychic Energy from your discard to your Lunatone. So the Lunatone might have good attack. So for 3 colorless, there's 30 for each Psychic Energy attached. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I can't see that being used. It's kind of neat, but that's it. Conkeldurr, very interesting one. Very cool Pokemon. Haven't seen much of him recently, so it's good to get a version of him. It's got counter, 20 damage. If this Pokemon was damaged by an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does that much more damage. That's okay. So it's done by how much damage you take, which is good, so you can heal it and other stuff. 230 health is amazing. Obviously, you can put a cape for toughness on this guy, get to 280, which is where he's going to be really devastating. 280 on a basic V Pokemon is cool. Obviously, with V-Stars, it's probably better just to evolve. They get a lot more cooler abilities, but Dynamic Punch says 90 plus damage. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 90 more damage. And your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. It's okay. Nothing too crazy. I remember seeing this. Alolan Raticate. Let's take a look because this is unbelievable. So for 3 colorless Super Fang, put damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon until its remaining HP is 10. So you've got an Arceus with 280 health. You've just been poisoned. Super Fang is going to put you down to 10. The turn's going to go over to them because you've attacked. They're going to pass out from poison. This is... I do think we're going to see decks of this because we've had it before where it was very powerful. It is so hard to play against. It's such a nasty deck to play against. So I do think this will see some play. Again, it's absolutely devastating. 120 health is good for stage 1, I guess. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I'm not a massive fan of Raticate, honestly. I should say the Rattata art is gorgeous. Again, I love the bold lines. I love it sort of in its habitat. That's really cool. Really cool art. Gotta be devastating as well. Tyranitar though, so what have we got? We've got Crash Rampage, 10 damage times. The attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on each of your bench Pokemon. So something with Gapejaw Bog, you could drop 5 Pokemon down and do 100. You could do 100 damage. It's not great. Obviously, there's other way to get damage on your Pokemon as well. There's stuff like Old Cemetery, which again is another stadium, so it's going to be difficult to do. You can also Earthquake and put damage on your bench yourself. So yeah, this later on in the game, this could be devastating, but it is a stage 2, so it's going to be very difficult to get going. And definitely difficult to have secondary attackers in it. So, okay, so Onix does evolve, so this could be interesting. So Steelix does, he can paralyze, that is 3 colorless. We've got Metal and 3 colorless. There's 117, he can't attack during your next turn. It's okay. It deals with Calyrex, Ice Rider, but it's a stage 1. I can't see this being used, but again, very cool art. Really cool for Pokemon Go. We've got a Dragonite V. Not as good as the other one. Just as 160, but a Water Electric colorless. Can do 16 discarding energy as well, so yeah, it's okay. Cool art, but again, we've seen better versions. But now we're getting to some good stuff. So we've got Dragonite VStar now. Its attack does 250, which is amazing. You can slap a choice belt on that and it's hitting the numbers you need. But obviously, it can't use its attack next turn. And it needs a Water, Electric, and 2 colorless. It's going to be difficult to get set up. But the V-Star ability, Star Dragon, does look at the top 12 cards of your deck. And then you can attach any lightning and water you find there onto your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle. That's kind of good. It could be used in water or electric decks just as the V-Star, but it should have been an ability, I think. It might have been too powerful as an ability, but the fact that you have to attach and do this means it's probably not going to be used at all, which is a shame because I do really like Dragonite, but I can't see any way we see this being played, so yeah, that's a real shame. We've got Slacking V next though. This Pokemon can't attack if you have 6, 4, or 2 prizes. So this is quite common with Slacking. He's quite a lazy Pokemon, so it's very difficult to get him to attack. Pokemon Go itself, his attacks sometimes do nothing with Yawn. So yeah, it's on the money. He does 260 for 4 colorless, which isn't terrible. You can put 2 double colorless on there, which is putting him down to 220, which he can still knock out V Pokemon. Or you use stuff like Gardenia's Vigor to attach energy. There'll be a few ways to accelerate energy to him, which will be better than using double colorless. Because 260 is a really nice number. With a choice belt, you can knock out again V-Stars. And you can always use stuff like Path to the Peak to get rid of this ability. It's going to be a little difficult to play around, but Path is probably good in this list anyway. So yeah, that could be really powerful. It could surprise your opponent as well, which could be good. If not, you can just use some kind of... On to the next one then, we've got Pidove. That's very cute. Again, cool Niantic design. Glad we've got some of these. We've got Tranquil, which is... That's okay. And then it evolves obviously into Unpheasant. Flip 4 coins, this attack does 70 damage times the number of heads. For Twin Energy, that's not terrible. It's a good way just to get some damage. This art is gorgeous. That is I don't really like the Pokemon, but I do now after seeing this art. That's unbelievable. Ghidorah. I absolutely love this. I love the rain. I love the marsh stump in the background. I love how close to the picture or close to the front. I was going to say close to the camera, but yeah, just really cool design on that. And then finally, we've got 2 more little bits. So we've got an egg incubator. So flip a coin if heads, search your deck for a basic Pokemon and play it on your bench. Then shuffle your deck. If tails, put this on the bottom of your deck instead of discarding it. If you're playing this, you want a Pokemon. So if it gets put back in your deck, that's not helpful. Having more of these and not the stuff you need, especially at the bottom of your deck, is not helpful. So I would like to say it would see play because obviously Quick Ball's rotating, but there's no way this is seeing play. we need someone else to get basic Pokemon out. Ultra Ball is obviously amazing. It's going to be like a 4 of in every deck. This is not it. And then finally we've got Rare Candy, which does what normally does in the game. Obviously it skips the stage 1, but obviously it's the design of the Rare Candy from Pokemon Go. So I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this set. Let me know what you think of the set in the comments below. Let me know your favorite card or any that you're going to be chasing. As I say, I'm going to be completing a master set of this. I'm going to be unboxing it on this channel. I'm going to be doing updates on progress and stuff. So let me know in the comments or subscribe if you do want to see that. Let me know what videos you want to see next. That's all I've got for this episode. So I will catch you, in the next one.